So this is what we're going to go through in the information session today. We're going to start with an overview of what Careers Central can do, and then Faisal's going to take you through all the mechanisms involved with the professional experience subject. At the end, we have an opportunity for QA. There are some pre-submitted questions, but you're also welcome to just jump up and ask a question. We have the current student here, David, who's actually done his professional experience. So it's an opportunity to ask him about how it worked for him and maybe answer some of those more unusual questions that you think the presentation doesn't cover. So I'm just going to hand over to Corinne.
Hi, everyone. So I'm from Careers and Employability. So my role is a faculty career specialist. So I'll be talking to you about the things that we offer in Careers and Employability, or what was previously called Careers Central. So you're probably more familiar with that name. And also some of the resources that we offer in your subject. So some of you, I believe, are already enrolled, and some of you are also finding out some more information about this subject too. So what do we do? Essentially, our purpose is to help you to identify your career goals. So whatever your goal is, whatever your passion is, whatever career you're hoping to move into, it's about us supporting you on that journey while you're studying here at university, and also that transition into the work that you want to do, or even postgraduate studies as well. So what we focus on is helping you to understand what skills you need to build, what steps of the process there are to consider, and help you to get there. So it essentially achieve your career goals. So how can we actually help you do that? We have a number of different resources. Our website is currently under review at the moment. We've definitely heard that it's not as user-friendly and easily accessible. So we're working on that to make it more obvious around the types of support services that we have and the resources. But there's lots there, let me tell you. In terms of individual support, we have something called a career chat. Who has actually participated in that before? Anybody here? Couple of people, yeah, brilliant. So a career chat is literally a chat about anything related to your career. It can be if you want to understand how you can get into a particular career path, how to build your skills from a curricular or co-curricular perspective, how to actually think about and also develop goals that you want to achieve. So what are the steps in the process? Potentially if you're thinking about changing courses, or looking at different subjects that could align to your study goals as well. So that's really important in terms of discussions, but we also talk through things like looking at your resume, how to identify work experience options, how to secure an internship, the types of things that you should be doing to do that, potentially doing mock interviews, anything related to applications that you're submitting. So developing a cover letter, how to network, how to reach out to different people. What's the process to do that? How would you actually reach out, and who are the people that you should be reaching out to? Looking at your resume and making sure that that's tailored in a way that's really going to highlight the skills and the value that you can add, and also tailor it to the person that's reading it or the organization that it's being submitted to. So career chats literally cover anything career related. We also have workshops, so they are catered to developing your employability skills, and I'll go through the topics in a moment. We review applications as well, so not only through a career chat, but you can submit that online. So for example, if you're applying for a specific internship, you can actually upload the internship requirements as well as your resume and your cover letter, and one of our employability officers will actually review that specifically for you and provide you with individual advice around that. Also, we have a number of different events, which I'll go through in a moment too. And we also have career development subjects that can help you to develop your career development, learning and employability skills as well. So like I said, with our career chats, that can help you with job search methods, help you to prepare for interviews, your applications. Generally, if you're feeling a little bit stuck or you have other questions that you'd like to brainstorm, also navigating and articulating the skills that you've developed from your studies, and also any type of placement that you've had before. I personally have seen from other students that they can find it a little bit difficult and challenging to be able to identify and then translate the experience that they've had from, say, their internships or any type of professional experience, as well as what they've studied here at university. So those types of discussions can be really meaningful and help you to really build your confidence and showcase everything that you've gained from your studies and your experience as well. Also, we've got the review of the different applications. So I've talked about your CV and cover letters, also selection criteria. If you're applying for a role that specifies that you need to address selection criteria in your application, we can help you on how to do that. So for example, using the STAR method, helping you to assess exactly what that selection criteria looks like and what they're asking from you, and then also helping you to develop a response in a way that should be really meaningful and hopefully get you success as well. We also have the ability to review your LinkedIn profile. So LinkedIn is a really powerful tool to help you navigate and build your career network. So having a profile that's suited for that is also something that we can discuss and help you with. Workshops, as I said earlier, these are the 6 main ones that we hold. These are in person and online. We also have a number of recorded workshops, so you can jump on at any stage, anytime, anywhere, and have a look at our recorded workshops. In particular, if you're applying for an internship or trying to seek an internship, we specifically have developed one for where you're currently at to help you actually secure and source and hopefully be successful in that process in connecting to an internship and having that as part of your professional placement. Some events that we hold are our Grad Expo. Some of you may have also been to our recent STEM Expo that we held. I think that was last week. The week has already flown. We have different networking activities as well, so you can network with industry, and we work with different faculties on actually building those and developing those connections and maintaining that for our students as well. You may not be aware of it, but we do have careers subjects, so specifically developed subjects for you in terms of thinking about your future career, understanding yourself in the world of work, having industry projects, and also a new one, CRLP 202, sorry, that's on the screen, is also a new one that's coming out, and that is an approved internship. So we'll be working with various different employers to look at internship possibilities. So I believe more information will be coming out next month, so keep an eye out on that one. These are some QR codes that you can access for those various resources. Like I said, booking a career chat, having your resume reviewed, booking in any of our workshops, and also looking at our events that we have. I believe you'll get a copy of these slides as well. Is that right? Yes, perfect. So you'll have access to that as well. Now, Moodle site on your or the content on your Moodle site, sorry, there are 5 different aspects or sections that we've built specifically for you as you go through a professional placement. So that is helping you to explore what options are actually available. So who do you contact? Who do you reach out to help you think about where you can possibly source an internship? Thinking about preparing your application and actually doing that as well. So we've got activities to help you do that specifically for a professional placement. Helping you prepare and think about the things that you need to do before you start. So after you've secured the internship, but before you actually are placed in that and start working in that internship. Then things to think about while you're in your internship. So who to contact? What are your goals of that internship? How are you keeping yourself accountable? How are you connecting with people? And what type of work are you doing that you can then reflect on your skills and your experience? Then finally, following your professional experience. And that is really about thinking about the skills that you've developed, having specific examples so you can show you've demonstrated them, and then helping to populate your resume and any other type of professional identity document that you may have and need in the future for any type of future application that you can leverage that professional experience as well. Any questions? No.
Suggesting in silence.
It is.
Clearly your presentation today.
Yeah. I do need to go to another meeting now, but if you do have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. And I wish you all the best.
We're just going to move on now to Faisal to go through the rest of the presentation.
Okay, hi everyone, and thanks for coming today for the information session. So just to give an overview about the two subjects, ICTY 399 and Eng 454. So those two subjects are a core subject where students need to complete 12 weeks of work experience, which is equivalent to 60 working days. So if you do 5 days a week, it is at 12 weeks. But if you do less than that, it should be like in total 60 working days. The work experience has to be in industrial, and it should be related to your degree. So if you are in electrical engineering, you do something related to electrical engineering. If you are in civil, you do some work experience related to civil engineering, and so on. So that's what it needs to be. And it's a good chance for you, so for students to participate in hands-on experience. And it should be in the industrial companies, but also it can be a part of a summer scholarship that you get at the university in here. So we always ask students to enroll every session. It's a free subject, 0 credit point. It's really important to re-enroll every session until you complete your work experience. Because I noticed many students, they leave it to the last minute and they don't enroll, but we always encourage students and we ask them to re-enroll every session. If you couldn't find a work experience this session, re-enroll again, because the Moodle site is the platform where we use to communicate with the students. And sometimes we are contacted by some companies who are looking for students for work experience. And that's the Moodle site is one of the platforms. We put all these advertisements there. So we post it on the Moodle site. So the online management system, Sonia, is a system that manages all the forms. And this is the system you're going to use to submit your approval forms. The weekly diary will be assigned for you. This is where you communicate with the subject coordinator and with your mentor as well at the company as well. So you need to make sure, and that the system, the link for this system is available on Moodle site. So you can access, I'm going to show you in the next slide how you can access to that Moodle site. So, and this is where you're going to submit the forms, including the approval form for your work experience. So when you find a placement, when you find a company or industry that you're going to do your work, complete your work experience with, first step you're going to do, you're going to go to the Moodle site and submit your approval form before you start your work experience. So to access information, to access the Sonia or the online management system, you need to use a university or for your UOW details, login details. But to access to that Moodle site, there will be some Moodles that you need to complete online. There is also a file called the subject guidelines. It's a very detailed file that has all the information about how the process since you submit your approval form until your report is marked. So when you go, this is the one on the left is from the Moodle side. If you click on the link, it will take you to the next slide, to the next one there. So you select engineering, then from engineering you go and you put your username and password to get access to the online system. But as I said, there is a PDF file called the subject guidelines. It includes all the information. It explains the process when you submit your form, where it goes, if it's approved or not approved, also about the weekly diary, certificate of service, and so on. So the forms, so one of the forms, the main one of the first or the initial form you're gonna have is the approval form. There are two types of the approval form, it depending on the work experience. If the work experience is a paid work experience, you need to select the paid approval form. If it's unpaid work experience, you select unpaid approval form. If it's unpaid, then your information will be also sent to the UOW insurance to make sure that you are covered with the insurance while you are doing the unpaid work experience. But as I said, you submit this online through the system to the Sonia, but please make sure you submit your approval form before you start your work experience. The other thing is there's also after your approval form or your work experience is approved, after we process your approval form and it's approved, then you will be assigned a weekly diary that you need to complete or fill in on a daily basis, the tasks that you complete every day, the type of task and the duration and all that and this weekly diary will be assigned to you before the start of your work experience. The other form that you will have it on the Sonia or online system is the certificate of service, which we use so that the mentor shows that he agrees with your final report. And also it is a form that the mentor used to evaluate your work experience. And that's need to be submitted at the end of your work experience. It needs to be filled in and actioned by your mentor, and you need to attach it with the weekly diary to your final report. And weekly diary also at the very end of your work experience will need to be actioned and approved by your mentor. So if you're going to talk about the requirements for placement approval, as I said, first step is you need to complete the relevant paid or unpaid approval form. So you have to make sure that you get this approval done before you start your work experience. Any work you complete before receiving your approval will not be considered towards the 12 weeks work experience. So when you submit your approval form, it will go to your subject coordinator. So make sure you put all the details in your approval form about the company, also about the work, activity, and tasks that you will be involved in. So when you provide enough details to your subject coordinator, then your subject coordinator will decide if this work experience is relevant, and they will approve it. When they approve it, it will go to your mentor to approve it as well. And that's the first step, and it's a very important step. If it's paid, it will go straight away from the subject coordinator to your mentor. If it's unpaid, it will be forwarded to the UOW insurance. So that's why I said you need to make sure that you don't start your work experience until you receive your approval. Because even UOW insurance, and I have seen these cases where some students, they made the start date of their work experience before the submission date, which means that have already started, and it's not gonna be covered by UOW insurance, because it has to be, you shouldn't start your work experience before you receive your approval. So we always ask students to give us at least 1 week, but I think it should be fine. For me, for 399, if it's even like if you submit your approval form today and the start date is like in 2 days, like tomorrow, after tomorrow, it should be, or I don't think it should be a big issue, but it is recommended that to give us at least 1 week for the start. So if you submit it Monday, so start date will be the Monday after. So we'll take time to process the approval forms. So as I mentioned before, just make sure that your work experience is related to your degree. So for example, if you do something in marketing and you're engineering, this can be considered as a work experience. So I think finding a placement, it has been already covered by the Career Center before, like just a few seconds ago. But just adding some strategies that you can easily contact industries and companies directly. You can contact them either for paid or unpaid work experience. There are different companies, you contact them. The other options is sometimes, just last week, I've been contacted by one of the electrical engineering company in Sydney, and they were looking for students in the 3rd and 4th year students to do a work experience with them. So they said, here we are, we're looking for students. Can you please pass our information to students so students can contact us, send us their CVs. And that's the only place I put all these information when I received them from these companies is on a Moodle site. So that's why we always encourage students to enroll in the Moodle site in the subject every session until you finish your work experience. So that's one way where we do this one. Also, you check the faculty notes boards if there's anything, or go to the other websites have been just discuss it, the slides before this. So start early. So don't leave it to the last minute. Don't say stay until the last year and say I'm going to do work experience. You might face some challenges in finding work experience. So just start. If you are, for example, in third year, you just start looking for the work experience. So it's much better to start early. Don't leave it to the last minute, because you will be unable to graduate without finishing or completing the work experience, the Eng 454 or ICT 399. During summer, so you can also complete your work experience during summer. I'm not sure if it's for Eng 454 the same, but for ICT 399, the Moodle site is open for the whole year. So for the whole year, we don't close it. Like, for example, if you roll this spring, you can use the Moodle site until next year, autumn 2025. So we close the Moodle site just one day before, then day after we open the new Moodle site. So you can access the Moodle site for the whole year, and you can submit your approval form any times during the year, except the holidays. So if you're not sure about the topic or the project you're going to undertake with the company, please discuss this with your subject coordinator. So after finding the work experience and it's been approved and you completed your work experience, the 12 weeks or 60 working days, what you need to do, you need to submit your final report through the Turnitin link, which is available on the Moodle site. So you need to make sure your report is complete. We strongly recommend that you structure your work, your report according to the assessment form. The assessment form is available on Moodle site, and it shows, and that's the form we use when we assess your report. So in your report, your report need to include the completed certificate of service, which need to be actioned and completed by your mentor, as well as the weekly diary. So the weekly diary, you can access those two and download them as a PDF files from the Sonia, from the PEX system, and attach them to your report. And also you are asked to attach at least 3 photos. That's what we do for 399. I'm not sure about Eng 454. While you are on site, you need to attach 3 photos. I know some people, they might do some work experience in a defense area. So those photos you don't need to show the everything in like some equipment stuff, just to be like show that you are on site, if you can. Report structure, as I said, you start to structure your report according to the assessment form. The length of the report should be around 5,000 words, plus minus 10%. So some people, they ask it if they can do a work experience overseas. The answer is yes. So you can, it's all right to do the work experience overseas, but you need the same thing. You need to submit your approval form, get the approval before you start your work experience, and ensure the compliance with the placement and the insurance requirements. Multiple placement. So you don't have to do the whole work experience in one company, because sometimes you get only 6 weeks in one company, the other 6 weeks in another industry. So that's also fine. You can do that, but the total should be 60 working days. And when you submit a report, you submit one report that contains all these work experiences, all these placements. You just structure, they include different places. I have seen few students, they have completed their work experience in 2 companies, which should be fine. But you need to do the same process again for the other companies, exactly the same. If you couldn't find a work experience, or you didn't complete your work experience or submit your final report, then normally you're going to get the IPC grade, which means that it's still in progress. You haven't completed. but you need to re-enroll again to the session after to get access to all the information. Yep, I think that's all with me. So any questions, guys? You need to ask a question now or then? Same. Yes, please.
If you're majoring in like one discipline and you're doing a minor in a different discipline, are you able to do placement in the minor disciplines?
Okay, we're gonna have to, yeah, sorry, because it's being recorded. Right, if it's stand up, it's the thing we'll do. If you're doing, like environmental engineering is a major and civil engineering is a minor, would I be able to do my placement in civil engineering as well?
Maybe you could answer this.
Anyone in front of the.
Yes, yeah.
If it's a combined degree, you can choose any of the, the subject. Generally speaking, if it's a decent profession for our graduates, I think you can try as your work experience, because the work experience is to help you be more successful and have a smooth transition from uni student to professional. So whatever will benefit you for your career, you should get our support.
Yeah, just to add one thing, like for example, thank you very much. So for example, if you are doing telecommunication engineering, and with this school, we have telecommunication engineering, control, for example. So you can, if you are electrical engineer, you can do telecommunication, you can do control, it's okay. So it doesn't need to be this exactly specific major. Within the electrical engineering should be fine for work experience, or computer engineering.
What about computer engineering?
One second.
What about computer engineering? Well, that's my major, actually, computer engineering. So I'm getting.
Sorry, what's your major? Computer engineering, Farouk? Computer engineering? Yeah. So if you computer engineering, you are at 60, right? At School of Electrical. So if you find a work experience in telecommunication engineering, that's fine. Doesn't need to be exactly computer engineering, but you can't do mining. You know what I mean? Just to make it clear. You know what I mean? So don't want to be limited.
And the work experience you just in a remote setting?
So 1 second, guys. Sorry, what's that?
Put the work experience be done in a remote setting.
Sorry, guys. Can you be just quiet? We need to hear, please. Yeah.
See, put the work experience be done in a remote setting.
No, the work experience has to be face to face. Has to be face. We only allowed the remote, which was during COVID, but no more. It has to be face to face. It has to be on site. Yeah.
This is my specific case. So last year I was a second year student. I did not think I would get an internship, so I did not enroll in the engineering 454 at the beginning of the semester. I actually got an internship, and I found out that just earlier the last semester, I could not use the hours in that internship for the module at all. So, but I'm still with the company at the moment. So do I still have to submit all of the paperwork, the forms and everything?
I just want to answer one part of that. Then the other part, maybe Professor can answer it. But for the enrollment, you can enroll anytime during the year. You don't have to be, even if the enrollment is closed, you can straight away, you talk to your subject coordinator. We can send you a link where you can manually enroll. We can enroll you to the subject. Or if you go to the student center, they will enroll you for 399. So for 399, you are able to enroll anytime during the year, anytime. So yeah.
Doing civil engineering.
Civil engineering, yeah. So
I did not know any of that last year, and so yeah, my internship was not recognized.
Ideally, you should enroll into a subject, such as in year 2. You might enroll into subject in year 2, get some basic knowledge, and then you might start your work experience in the 3rd year or 4th year. Because 12 weeks is minimum. We see many students doing more than 12 weeks. They can do the 30 weeks or 50 weeks. That's fine. So you should enroll into a subject as early as possible. And then ideally, theoretically speaking, you should get approved before you start. Because if it's not approved, your work experience might not be suitable for NG 454. It might be rejected. So get approved before you start, otherwise it can be wasted. But for some special cases, I might approve it to allow you to use the work experience you done before the approval for your NG 454. If you really need it, if it is a significantly help support for you for your career development. Because if it help your graduation half a year, 1 year earlier, and if your work experience is really qualified for NG 454, we can consider it, but we will examine the case by case. Okay.
Probably we'll have to talk to you later about.
Yeah, we need to talk to you.
Will we need to get like specific stuff from our employers before the application, or should we just give the contact details for the employer to send it through to you straight away?
Yeah, you need to talk to the company before you submit your approval form. So because in the approval form, there are many details that are related to the company that you're gonna complete the work experience with. So talk to your, you need to know who's your mentor will be, who's your mentor, what project you're gonna get, an activity you will be involved in, you know what I mean? Because there are some requirements. So your mentor has to be an engineer. You need this information, you need the contact details of your mentor, all these information. So you have to have a discussion with your company before you submit your approval form.
Just asking on behalf of my friend. He's actually currently in year 4, and he still couldn't find an internship for this summer, and he's considering research scholarship. So for that, do we need to write into the report as the approval as well, or no need? It's just straight away because it's under UOW, so it's straightforward.
Thank you for your question. Yes, the scholarship, the university scholarship, are considered as a work experience, but you need to go through the system. You need to submit the approval form, and you need to nominate who's your supervisor. So you go through the same procedures, but it is considered as a work experience. Yeah.
I completed my work experience like 2 years ago, but I forgot to submit my report. Am I still able to submit my report?
Unfortunately, no, because your work experience wasn't approved.
It was.
It was. Sorry. If it was approved, yes, we always recommend students to submit it the session after. Like when you finish it, you submit it. But yes, you still, if it was approved, you still be able to submit your final report.
Okay. And when you submit your final report, you're meant to send it to your mentor at the company you were at.
Yes, you're gonna follow the same procedure. That's why you need to roll again. You are doing 399. Well, is it 399? Environmental, yeah. So what for 3? I'm not sure for but for 399, you roll again for the subject. I think it should be the same. You roll again to the subject for this session. Then you need to use the Tenetin link available on Moodle site to submit your report. But your report needs to be sent to your mentor to action it and to complete the certificate of service, as well as to action the weekly diary.
Okay. So the person that was mentoring me no longer works there. Can I send it to a different mentor?
Yes, you can. Yeah,
Thank you.
no worries. And that's why when you leave it for a long time, your mentor maybe leave the company, and that will be an issue. But that's why we always recommend to submit it. When you finish, just submit it. Yep. Okay. So far. Any more questions? We also have pre-submitted questions here as well. So we can, what do you think, Angie?
We also might get David up as well. Come up to our final, please.
Yes.
So this is David. He's a current student. He's done his work experience. He actually did it in 2 bits and in 2 different ways. So I'll get him, first of all, to describe what he did, and then it's your opportunity again to maybe ask a question you haven't thought of. Okay? Yes.
Yeah, I did my internship in 2 parts. The first part I did 2 weeks via a exchange program that I was able to get pre-approved by the uni to count towards my Eng 454 work experience. I went to the emails and made sure I had it all approved beforehand that this exchange program was part of Eng 454. That allowed me to take 2 weeks off from my total of 12 weeks. So I only had to do 10 weeks of my internship over the following holidays. This meant I got to have a Christmas break and take some time off over that year, which was helpful. Yeah, and then for my following experience, so for those 10 weeks, I worked up in Sydney with a company that makes aircraft simulator equipment, and had a lot of fun playing with bits and pieces and software and mechatronics, whatnot. Yeah, pretty much. It's just a different way of doing it, splitting it into 2 parts, like Basil mentioned before.
Does anybody have any questions for David? Did you get everything that you wanted out of this session? Just checking the time. So we've still got plenty of time. If you want to come up and talk to, I'll actually stand up in here because we're recording this. If you want to come up and talk to any of the academic coordinators, or if you have a question about Sonia in particular, I have somebody who can answer those questions. She's Ellie here in the corner. So feel free to come up and talk to any of the academics, David or myself, if this didn't answer any of your questions. But other than that, I hope it was a good